everyone right now on Football West. We've got the Queensland connection. The Queenslanders here today, guys. We've taken over the whole country, mate. It's got to be called Queensland, of course. We've got Cameron here. Cameron, the coach of Moreton City Excelsior. I think I said it right this time. Scott Owen and, of course, Adam Pace. Boys, welcome today, fellow Queenslanders. I'm all alone in Victoria, but let me say, what an amazing performance by you guys in the Australian Championship. Of course, there, Cameron, unbelievable. The only team that qualified to make the semi-finals and the quarters, of course. But congratulations, mate. What a beginning to that league for you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, Harry. Yeah, exactly right. Fantastic experience, of course. And, we were really happy with the outcomes, and to progress all the way through to the semi-final was an amazing achievement, all things considered as well. And we were disappointed, though, not to get to the final, because that would have been, one step further. But obviously that's now what we're...
One goal. That's all it was at bloody Marconi. That was the thing, guys. If you'd have scored that goal, mate, I reckon straight to penalties, I reckon you would have beaten Marconi for sure. I think you would have. I mean, that was the thing, just one goal.
Yeah, it was. We're hoping to get to extra time, to be honest, late in the game, because we had some bodies getting very tired, and we had some good young players on the bench that we were ready to bring into the game at extra time. But conceded late, which was disappointing, and that's football. That's what happens.
I'll bring Scott on. You got some questions for, of course, you must have questions for your coach here, mate, in Queensland.
Questions for Cam, of course I do. I mean, Cam, it must be really gratifying for what you achieved here with Moreton City in the Australian Championship. What you did for Queensland football games that semi-final, you set a whole new standard, didn't you, for what Queensland football can show itself to be on the national stage?
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Appreciate those words. I think it was definitely important for us to represent Queensland. We certainly believe the standard up here in the NPL is very strong, and I think one of our big goals was to prove that in the Australian Championship, and I believe we did. Not just with the results and progressing through to the semi-finals, but the way that we did it, the style of football that we played, it was entertaining. It was positive. It was, it was on the front foot every single game, regardless of the opposition, home or away. We believe we did a very good job of representing the brand up here.
And you got that slight what if, because you were so close to making the final, Cam, but you just had so many players out with injury, including your captain Declan Smith and a bunch of others as well. So just that slight what if of what could have been if you had a full strength squad.
Yeah, look, it's easy to say that, of course, and look, I've definitely had those thoughts, of course. Losing Declan Smith, at the halftime of the quarterfinal was massive for us. It was really tough to come back from that one, with only a week of preparation. But, we had a number of injuries throughout the whole competition, but that wasn't irregular in the competition. I think a lot of the teams did, and the teams that had big NPL seasons that were successful and played in the final series, really struggled to deal with that, and the squads that were able to have a bit of a longer break in between and recruit, players from the A-League pre-season, for example, I think that gave them a little bit of an advantage. But, nonetheless, the boys that did end up playing in those quarterfinal and semi-final games were outstanding. And I think it gave opportunities to other players. I think of Luka Jankovic straight away, and a fantastic tournament as a substitute, and got the opportunity to start, in a quarterfinal and semi-final, and that was massive for him. So it's a good example of how, when you lose one player, it's an opportunity for the next guy to come through, and that's how we sort of look at it. And 2026 for Moreton City is exactly that, because we've lost a couple of players, we've lost some of our higher performers from last season through transfers, through long-term injuries. So for me, it's about which players now are gonna step up and lead us forward. So it's exciting.
Okay, I'll bring up. Of course, I'll call Adam. Of course, Adam. That day you came down to Melbourne. We had fun there in the park. Of course, we had the most interesting fella there that we spoke to, and everybody keeps going on about that video, mate. Crazy. But the thing about this is, you saw the game there at Lakeside. It was the transformation after that day was amazing. Transformation of Moreton City.
Yeah, look, it was, and again, it was a 2-0 loss, but to lose the eventual champions, on their patch, and then to get a draw up here, look, it just shows the character of Cam and his squad, and to come back and bounce back from that. But my question for you, Cam, is that obviously long campaign. The boys, I think, were in for 12 months, pretty much up to the end. How's it going to affect sort of go with the NPL season 26 about to start? and also as well that road potentially back to the Australian Championships?
Yeah, well, we'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. But, so far it's obviously had an impact on our preseason. We've had to come back later in. We've started the third week of January, where typically we're starting in November. So, it's 6 to 8 weeks worth of work there that we haven't been able to do this year. But in saying that, I wouldn't trade it, because I think that experience through the Australian Championship has grown our team so much, individuals, the group, and, the standards that we've sort of got for ourselves now as well. And that's been recognisable in the first few weeks of our pre-season and performances we've put in already in our first few games in the Kappa Pro Series. So, it's challenges, yes, of course, but certainly, the learnings from the Australian Championship are going to be so valuable for us this year. So, but yeah, in terms of longer term stuff and managing player loads and potential injuries down the track, that we need to do the best job we can to stay on top of that, because, that will obviously be a challenge as we go through, but no, one that we're looking forward to staying on top of.
Let me say that day that you came down to Avondale and we interviewed you down there, I thought, mate, have I gone into a time machine here? Like, have I gone to Queensland? Mate, there was Queensland weather all through that day. Remember that day? Mate, you actually, was it 4?
Do.
You beat them 4-1. There, they were the top team of Victoria. They won there at top. No, they were second or third, I think. But to beat them on that, really, to tell you the truth, they said we had to make 5 changes. Hang on for a sec. But you're in Victoria. You're a Victorian team. And so the depth that you would have in Victoria compared to Queensland, you should have put up a good fight. So to me, Victorian teams have got the extra money to have even better, how can I say this, more depth in their teams. But you beat them with the depth that they had also that day. Remember that 4-1? Gee, after half time, mate, everything changed.
Yeah, remember that day clearly, of course. It was, probably our most polished performance in the Australian Championship away to Avondale, who won the NPL Victoria last year. So, look, I've heard a few, they were missing a few key players on that day. I think they probably had 4 starting 11 players out, but so did we, to be honest. Yes. So did we. We had 4 players sitting in the grandstand at Avondale and another couple back home in Brisbane. So I'd say we probably had more players out than they did, if I'm honest. And, when it comes to football anyway, that's all part of it, right? It's I don't think that's an excuse at all. No. I think that just is part of the challenge. And, it was 11 versus 11 in there, and both teams had very strong 11s and even subs coming off the bench, and it was a good football game, to be honest. Both teams play a similar style of football that's possession orientated and like to create and attack and be entertaining, and it was a good contest, and obviously we got the better of them in the second half. We played some really exciting football and scored some fantastic goals, some incredible individual performances, and it was a very special day for our club, and one that we'll remember for a long time, I'm sure.
And your vice captain was on the bench. He spoke to me, and do you realise that we interviewed him? I'm going to put that interview up during this the editing of this show. You haven't heard him yet, so let's get him up there. Yeah. Scotty, you got some more questions?
Oh, I do. I mean, look, it was a season last year where you really built for this over a 3 to 4 year span. And since you first took over at Moreton City Excelsior, you really emphasised not just success in the local league up here, but also on the national stage, because you have had that Australia Cup run as well. Can you just talk us through how you built the club from where they were at the time you took over, where they were almost relegated the year prior, to where they are now? Yeah. It's a remarkable job you've done. Yeah,
thank you. I think it has been a long time coming, getting to where we are now. And, the first thing was setting some very, big targets to get to, but not ones that were unrealistic. We had a 3-year plan to win the NPL, and funnily enough, we won it in the 3rd year, and a 5-year plan to be in a position to enter the national second tier if it was available at that point. And, obviously, the Australian Championship was the first, I guess, taste of this, and it aligned nicely with us winning the league last year, so it gave us that opportunity. But yeah, I think setting very ambitious goals, and then off the back of that, putting together some very detailed plans to bring that to life, and then it was about working extremely hard. Over the last 3-4 years, we haven't stopped working towards these goals, and we'll continue working because we've got more goals now to achieve. And it's been a massive rise of the club and the playing group and individual players within our group, and it's been fantastic so far, and we look forward, to be honest, to what's next, because we want to keep growing, we want to keep improving, and we're happy with where we're at, but we're not content. We want to keep pushing forward.
Okay. You've picked up.
You are ambitious, but it's also a community club as well, Cam. As well, it's a massive community club, Moreton City Excelsior, and that's something you've always really pushed and strived for is building that community and having that community be a part of the club, including local juniors coming through.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's not just an NPL club here where with one team that there's so many layers to our club. You know, we've got the highest performing academy in Queensland. We've got a women's program that we're working really hard to grow as well. We've got a huge community base, mini Roos programs and overs programs, and it's a beast, to be honest, our club, and so many priorities. It's not just about the NPL team, of course, but you know what is very important for me and for our team is that connection with all the different parts of our club. And that's what it's all about, creating a very special community here where everyone's a part of it, everyone's connected. That helps us on the field, and we experience that on big home days, and you know that helped us towards the back end of last year. But I think above that, it's about everyone in our team, feeling connected to the club. It's meaningful for them to wear the shirt, and they're very proud to be a part of Moreton City. And it's a lot of benefits to that. But we're very proud of that aspect as well, because I think, to be honest, it is something that sets us apart.
So can we see you at the top of the ladder this year? I know for a fact that you've had practice matches. You've tried new players. How have the new players taken to the club?
Yeah, the way we're approaching the season, you know, is not necessarily like a fresh start, but more a continuation on from the Australian Championship. You know, three of the boys we signed for the Australian Championship have stayed with us, which is fantastic, and we've got high hopes for those boys. And we've kept majority of the squad. We've lost three players through transfers, and we've picked up a couple of injuries, but the core of the group is still together. It's still very strong. So we'll keep improving. I think the big difference for us this year, you know, is that we're not chasing the teams above us. You know, the years prior where we were chasing Gold Coast Knights for a few years there, and you know now it's sort of, we're in a different space now. We're all about chasing continuous improvement for our group, and if we do that, you know, and the plan is very much to make sure we stay at the very top of the NPL in Queensland. So you know, we're looking forward to seeing how we go. Certainly over the next couple of months, where we'll get some insight into the new groups across the league, and you know, it's going to be even more competitive again. So we're looking forward to it.
And look, now, Adam, you guys are going to get out to the games very shortly at the NPL. When does the NPL starts this week or next week?
No, No, you go, Adam. You're right.
Okay. Yeah. So the actual the women's actually starts this weekend. The men doesn't start for another 2 weeks. But there's the Captain Pro Series competition, which is sort of it's a trophy up for grabs. Moreton City are going very, very well at the moment. A draw up in Bundaberg against Brisbane City, which again, I know your viewers in Melbourne, Victoria would be very aware of as being a top team in the Australia Cup.
Yes.
Yeah. So the weekend of the 23rd, 24th, 25th is when the NPL men start here in Queensland.
Oh, gee. That's actually a bit late, Cameron, because New South Wales starts this week. Next week is Victoria, and then you guys. So there's three. Okay. So what happened? The other thing is too. So you guys are going to finish a bit later this year. You finish on top. You get into the Australian Championship. You're going to have to work something out. Is that right? You're going to have to if you do that again. Yes.
I think the way the leagues are structured, they'll end up finishing around the same time.
Yes.
Harry, to a bit of context, the reason the NPL Queensland starts a few weeks later is because it is a smaller competition, 22 league games based on 12 teams in the competition. Victoria's obviously at 14, New South Wales at 16. And that is actually the reason why Football Queensland has implemented the Kappa Pro Series competition that has sort of transformed into a pre-season tournament, if you like. The final series of this competition will go throughout the league, but the group stage will be completed before the season starts. It'll be this weekend. So that's a mandate from Football Australia to ensure that the Football Queensland, the top tier of Football Queensland, are meeting the minimum match requirement set by the professional standards. So it's probably a bridge, and it's a wedge in there at the moment until the NPL Queensland can grow to 14 teams, which I believe it will in the next few years. But it's a pretty good concept in the meantime because it's competitive games. But in regards to the Australian Championship, we're not thinking too far down the track yet. So definitely.
So that means you'll be playing. So if you count all the games, including the Australia Cup and this competition you're playing, geez, you must be playing a lot more games. Must be.
Well, yeah, it depends on your cup, how well you go in the cups, right? Like we played 40 matches last year,
Gee,
but that was across MPL and final series and a run in the Pro Series all the way to the final and a few Queensland Cup games, and it all adds up, once you get there. But that's stretched across the entire year, right? So I think it's going to be very interesting. I know we're talking about the Australian Championship, but the clubs that aren't foundation clubs, right? They can't start the planning now because they've got to win their respective competitions first. So it's tricky to plan for that. But I'm watching South Melbourne at the moment, and they're playing in the OFC Pro League at the moment, and it's an add-on to the Australian Championship is what it feels like. So. If we want the game to grow, we've got to keep finding solutions to make these things possible and to keep growing the game and growing the product, and for the players to be able to get exposure at that level is amazing. So I've been watching some Central Coast Mariners play recently. A number of the players that are starting in the 11 for those guys now are straight out of the Australian Championship. We played against all of them actually across the Sydney Olympic team and Ollie Laval from South Melbourne, and so it's good to see players getting opportunities. Hopefully there's more to come.
One more before I bring the other boys on, Cameron, is that I spoke to the NWS Spirit. Apparently they got some kids going into the A-League. Did you guys get anyone that they looked at after your games? I'm sure the brother himself, Jankovic, must have had a good look at him for sure.
There were some conversations that we had with some players. There were some barriers for a couple of them, for the visa player boys, and a couple of other boys is like Joe Scott is one I'll mention who had an incredible tournament, and there was some interest with him, but he was injured towards the end of the Oz Championships, which sort of limited his opportunity to go in and train in some A-League environments and stuff like that. Luka Jankovic, not that I'm aware of yet, but certainly an exciting player that we certainly believe is good enough to get to the pro level. In the next few years, if he continues on the trajectory that he is.
Scotty, yourself?
What's it, sorry?
Scotty, yourself, some more questions?
I'm looking ahead to the new season coming up, Cameron. It is right on the doorstep now. What are your thoughts on the way the league is shaping up this year in Queensland? Because it is, for our Victorian viewers, it is a very different looking league this year. It's got a few changes around the place. Could lead to some different teams up the top this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be competitive. To be honest, the last couple of years it's been getting stronger and stronger each year. I think, I think changes to the player roster ruling as well, makes it a bit easier for clubs that are willing to spend big money to improve their squad without too many limitations on the restrictions. I think the Australian Championship being a carrot there at the end of the competition for the team that wins the league certainly encourages clubs to potentially invest more in their first team squads in order to try and achieve that. I think Rochedale and Magic, the two teams coming up into the NPL, are going to add some more quality as well. Rochedale is a very famous club with strong history here in Queensland, and Scott Rochedale Rovers. So they're back in the top flight where I believe they deserve, based on the resources and infrastructure they've got there, and their football program led from Scott McNichol as well. So they'll be ones to watch this year. I believe they're going to be very competitive. Magic United, on the other hand, a bit different first year in the NPL, but I know some of the guys down there, and they're building a strong football department. So, they'll be very competitive. We look forward to competing with the teams, hopefully for us at the very top of the league again. I believe they're all going to be stronger as well. Some big changes out of Lions and Gold Coast Knights. So that will be interesting to follow, but I know they will both be very competitive. They've still got some very, very good players in there. I expect Peninsula Power and Easts, they've added some quality to their squad. They're going to be strong. So, we're looking forward to it.
Mate, it looks right up there for the NPL Queensland. Gee, some of these things you're saying, mate. You got a lot of things for the future there, and of course we speak about the OFC competition. I mean, yourself, Cameron, I know you say you've been watching it too, and of course, Adam, I've been watching a lot of the games, and I'm saying to myself, hang on for a sec, this is okay for Oceania to have a competition, but the support has been really bad. I'm very surprised. People aren't going to the games. They could have done a bit more. In a few weeks' time, there's a whole hub coming to Victoria. Whether they're going to play that down down at the Matildas or at Lakeside. We don't know yet. That's still, see, there's no organisation whatsoever. It's really upsetting me because, please, this is a professional competition. FIFA put the money, and let me tell you, I found out some information too, Cameron. They put the money in for 5 years, FIFA. 5 years they're actually paying this competition to keep going. At 5 years, my God. So, geez, it would have been good if they actually put money into the Australian Championship, wouldn't they? Jesus, mate. But FIFA doing that, what do you think of that, Adam?
Look, I think the competition is probably a necessity. It's given some NPL level players an opportunity to play over in the process, especially up here in Queensland. We've got a number of players that are plying their trade. Hassan Ramazani, Matt Acton, Bailey Ferguson is having a tremendous season. Our young player of the year last year in NPL for Auckland, and hopefully that might see him with the back sort of almost a backdoor to an A-League contract. But as far as the competition itself goes, look, I'm not terribly shocked that the attendances are low. I think we are looking at some places that those hubs. I think it's very. I think 1,000 people would have been actually a good number. I think that the 5,000 they got at Eden Park on day one, I think that was a more inflated number. I think the curiosity of the competition. Auckland v South Island as well on that day one also headlines. So would have done a lot of promotion on that. But for smaller islands, I think it's as long as FIFA are committed to funding this,
they are,
and they're not relying on ticket sales revenue. Look, I think it is. I think what more we want to see, I think, from Australia, from the outside, I think we want to see some, I guess, some development of players. Hope some players that can then maybe take a step towards maybe the A-Leagues or the national championship in New Zealand or further afield. That's what you want to see. And also as well, maybe even some Australian players are using this as a shop window to get to the professional game.
And who's this kid? Of course, Raby loves getting into everything. Raby loves getting into everything. He had the team there from Vanuatu here in Queensland. Is that right? He had the team there, and he had them there, of course, down at the park there at the Wolves, of course. Honestly, and he ended up getting one of the boys there playing for Vanuatu FC. Now, who is this kid? And you guys must know him.
Just Lofthouse.
Yes.
He was at the Bristol Roar a couple of years ago. He was a really, really talented young player. I think it just didn't quite work out for him in the A-League, but I think Cam would have tested. We've gone up against him in the NPL a couple of years. He's a really talented player, and that's the sort of player that you can see potentially getting an opportunity in the OSC Pro League. And I think it's more about the professional pathways more than the crowd figures. And like if FIFA are prepared to really invest in it and put the money in for those pathways in nations like Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands and all the rest of the Oceania Confederation, you might start to see the benefits of that down the track as opposed to right now. And if the crowd figures are only at 1,000 people, that's okay for now. You want to grow, of course, but it's really about that professional pathway and those opportunities that you just don't get in Oceania for all those players. So that's probably the most important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Now, Cameron, last week we had on, I believe we had the two coaches on last week. We had the Marconi coach, Peter Tekenis, and we had Max Clark last week, South Hobart. And we also had on one of the organisers of the Australian Championship. He let a few cats out of the bag. He found a little, and you're going to learn this tonight too. And this is something you guys are going to hear online or on TV right now. He was still complaining about the what's his name, Nick Galatis, the Association of Australian Football Clubs chairman. Now he was still pushing one more year of this group stages, and then the third year to start with a home and away competition, so the clubs leave their home bases in their states and start playing in a competition. Your opinion, if you think, I know you're not the president or whatever, but the thing is, if something came up and said, well, could you guys get out of NPL Queensland, play in this national competition as a home and away, would you guys do it, you think?
Oh, look, if it was up to me, 100%, of course. I think, the experience of the Australian Championship for what it was incredible, and that was across, a 6-week round robin tournament and then the finals, of course. for that to be transformed into a full-time league, below the A-League, where there's a full home and away season, for me personally, for me and my team to enter that would be incredible, and I would absolutely jump at that, and then that's a big goal of mine personally, and a number of our players in our group to get to the professional level. So something like that would create so many opportunities for players and coaches and everything else around the country, Of course, there comes some significant challenges with that being possible for a lot of clubs. I can tell you that. The Australian Championship was extremely challenging financially for our club, and I imagine a lot of the other clubs that weren't in the foundation set up. So, a lot of things to be considered. But from a football perspective and from a technical standpoint, I'll be working as hard as I possibly can. As long as I am the head coach here at Moreton City, to make sure that we're in a position where we're potentially able to access that league.
Let me say, Scotty, yourself, if you thought that, let's say there was 2 clubs from Queensland, they'd be putting into that, would you go to the game? Would you travel interstate? Would you come interstate and do something?
Would love to travel. So I know Adam did for this competition.
Yes,
It'd be absolutely fantastic.
South Melbourne, yeah.
Travelling interstate, travel down there to Melbourne on that long travel pass from Queensland football down there to Victoria. I'd absolutely love to do that. And I'd love to see a Queensland team in a national league competition like that, just below the A-League, whether it's Moreton City, Excelsior, or anybody else, would be absolutely sensational. And I do think if they are going to go down that path of moving away from this group stage to a league format in 12 months' time, they need to make sure there is a national footprint beyond just New South Wales and Victoria. Yes, there's some big traditional clubs in those states, and they're a part of this league, but you also want to keep South Australia, West Australia, Queensland, and Tasmania involved as much as you can, as also it does feel like a national competition. So I'd absolutely love to travel interstate and follow this competition. And
of course, Adam, what were we calling the group that what are they? Bayswater City from? We were calling them the Graveyard Group, mate. Who would want to travel that far? I mean, would you go and watch let's say Moreton Excelsior's playing next season at Australian Championship? They're going to Perth, mate. How would you tackle that? Jeez, mate.
I tell you what, if they did draw, I'd be there. I don't mind mate. So yeah, but look, I agree. I agree with Scott as well that while, as I said, that the national competition there has to be a true national competition.
It has to be.
I know that the challenge is money, but that's a Football Australia issue. That's a TV rights issue. That's a sponsors issue. But it's there if the will is to want it. But it is. Like I said, I think there's still a few teething issues with the Champions League style format at the moment. I think the kickoff times, I think it's for the test were not ideal, and that would have put a lot of strain to be in the high performance area. Sort those sort of issues out and make a viable competition. I think they've got something to work for towards potentially. I think Nicholas might be a bit ambitious, in a year's time from now.
Or they want it. They want it, mate.
In the 5-year cycle.
They want it. Now, Cameron, last week's coaches were talking to Nicolaus about that too, about the problems with the times, mate. The times. Honestly, mate, that day you turned up Avondale starting at 12:35. Have you ever started a game at 12:35 in Queensland in that heat? Particularly that heat, huh? You guys went straight to it. You know the heat. I know the heat too, but honestly, mate, that was really bad.
It was extremely difficult. It was one of those things though, right? In the competition, it was we played a number of games at 12 o'clock and a couple of 2 o'clock kickoffs, and it's part of it, isn't it? Yes. I think it definitely had an impact on the quality of the football. I think about, and potentially the product too as well, because it's, it is different playing under lights and it's a bit cooler and the crowd's potentially a bit bigger. I'll compare our few home games that we had, we played Sydney Olympic and Broadmeadow Magic, 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock during the day at Perry Park. Extremely hot and probably a slower tempo to the game across the 90 minutes. And then the one game we did play on a Friday night, South Melbourne, it was an awesome crowd, But to be honest, there were some other factors that contributed to the intensity of that game. I think what was on the line for us. Certainly, we needed to win a point to qualify.
And you did.
There was we did, and the game was delayed for a pretty full-on storm for an hour or so with a lot of rain before. So that added a bit of excitement, I think. But To be honest, if I look across the rest of the championship, for me as a spectator who watched a lot of those games, the ones that stood out to me in terms of football product, quality of the game, intensity of the game, the crowd numbers and everything that brought was probably the night games. To be honest, I think about I watched a couple of incredible games. The Apia Marconi semi-final was one. Marconi played against Heidelberg on a Friday night. That was an awesome spectacle as well.
Massive.
The first match, South Melbourne, Sydney. So some very, very good games, across the whole championship. But I think, the games at night definitely adds a little bit more. So, it was all a bit of a trial trial run though this year, right? So I'm sure there's I can tell you the FA met with all 16 clubs that competed this year. We went through a pretty extensive review process where we provided a lot of in-depth feedback on the competitions. And, I can say from our end, most of that was extremely positive. The professionalism of the tournament and so many different factors was so positive. And obviously little bits of feedback that we believe can help the product as well. And, I'm sure they're going to take all of that on board. And I really, really am looking forward to seeing what comes to life at the end of this year and obviously hope that we can be good enough to be a part of it again.
Boys, thank you for joining me tonight. But you're talking about the Queenslanders here, guys. I'm a Queenslanders, mate. All I can say next season, go Queenslander. Thanks, boys, for joining me. Scotty, of course, Cameron, super coach, and of course, Adam, we're going to talk to you guys very soon. Thanks for joining us, guys, tonight. Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Back again, guys, our second part of the show. Before we're at the Queensland Connection and Queensland and whatever, but let me say right now, Kenny Wilson and, of course, Graham Parker, the Scott, the Pom and the Soccer Psycho are back tonight for the English Premier League. Wow, what a week in Premier League. What a week in football. Boy, tell me, Kenny, I tell you what, mate, Manchester United, have they turned the corner? Let me say one thing. Is Carrick, I hear that Gareth Southgate might be taking the job, but all of a sudden, you're going to change something that's working, Kenny? Is all these rumours are coming up now?
We were just discussing it quickly before we came on here. Look, the question mark was, can Carrick change the structure depending on who he plays? So basically, they played on the counter-attack against Man City and against Arsenal, and they beat both of them. Mm-hmm. This week they had to actually go at a team and beat them, acknowledging the fact that they scored in the 94th minute. But the fact is that they did do that. So he's showing that obviously they've got that he's got the flexibility, and I like Carrick. I loved him as a player. I thought he was very underrated, and I think he's probably learned his stripes, as an assistant and backroom staff, youth coaches. He's done a lot since he retired. Now, if it was me, I would give him the gig because I just like the way he played. But anything's possible. But I think Man United will finish top four.
They've had 3 straight wins.
Yeah, actually, and they're beating the top 2 teams 1 and 2.
Kenny, do you think they will get close to Arsenal? They'll get close to them if they keep winning?
No, I don't think anybody will get close. I think Arsenal will win it by about 8 points, 8, maybe 9 points. I don't see anyone showing enough consistent form to string 5 or 6 games in a row that are close enough to Arsenal to catch them. Now, Man United might string 5 games, but that'll take them into, say, 3rd or maybe 4th.
Yeah, they're on 41. Yeah.
Graham, yourself,
12 points.
Yourself, have they turned the corner? You think they've turned it, and then all of a sudden, Gareth Southgate, his name's brought up at this time? Really?
I think Carrick. I think they'll be silly to let him go if they let him go before the end of the season because he's won 3 straight games in a row, and although, as Kenny says, they're quite a way behind Arsenal, I think they're going to be aiming for top 4.
Okay.
Well, the upside is that probably 5 teams will qualify for the Champions League because potentially you've got 4 English teams that could win the Champions League this year, right? I mean, they're rated 1, 2, 3. They're actually rated in the top 5. We've actually got 5 teams, yeah? I mean, so if we win it, we get that extra spot, yeah? So even fifth would probably get you into Champions League potential.
Well, it says it here, Kenny. It does get you in. That's the cut-off point. Anything further, no way. You got to finish fifth.
Yeah.
Chelsea are fifth.
If that's the case, if I'm getting it wrong, then we could end up with 6 teams. Then, if there's 5 automatics and we win the Champions League, then there's another spot. And to be honest, you wouldn't go too far past, an English team winning it this year. Yeah, I think if ever there's a chance of them winning it this year, it's probably this year's the one. I think Arsenal will give it a shake. I don't think Man City will, but the other two, you never know.
But you know what the surprise packet, Aston Villa, surprise packet, aren't they? Gee.
Yeah. They've. I mean, the last 3 weeks though, they've lost against 2 of the lower teams predominantly. When I say lower teams, below them, games they should have won. We were just saying if they'd won them, they would only have been a point behind Arsenal.
Yep.
And that would have really put the frighteners up on them. But unfortunately, it never happened. But it'll be interesting. It's a funny year. I mean, as you know, us two are Chelsea supporters. There was all the talk about potentially us losing our best player to Man United at the beginning of last week. There was a huge media push. He's injured all the time. He's this. He might not make the England squad. The minute he was playing last weekend, on the team sheet, there was no way. Then he's definitely not moving. So because if you're on the verge of moving to another club at the weekend, they don't play you. They just.
That's right. They'll just let you sit on the bench, and that's it. That's even if you make the bench.
That's even if you make the bench. But they don't want to take a chance to get injured if there's relatively big money at stake. With him, it would be big money. But look, I mean, you're probably at the moment looking at him, Bellingham, and the Arsenal lad. England's probably got the 3 best midfield players in the world at the moment.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, they really have.
They have.
I mean, I know Bellingham's not playing that well. He's a bit hot and cold. But quality-wise, they've definitely got 3 players that you think, wow, that'll be interesting.
Let me just say, Graham, right now, I just can't believe Newcastle. The amount of money they've got. We talked about it last week. I just can't believe this. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 1. Are they? What are they playing for? What are Newcastle playing for? That's what I'd like to know.
Well, Liverpool played a very dominant game on Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember. With the time difference, my weekend all kind of merges into 2 days.
Yes.
Whatever. Liverpool move up to they're now 6th. 2 goals for Ekitike, Florian Wirtz and Kanate. They just produced a very dominant game against Newcastle. Newcastle, I think, were very flat on the weekend.
I just can't believe Kenny. I can't believe
they've also got the second leg of the Carabao Cup this week. They're 2-0 down against Man City. Yeah. So I don't see them progressing from that. But I think they're rated. What they're rated? 2nd or 3rd in the Champions League ratings.
I don't know. They could be up there. I mean,
on that table, they give them a rating, and they're up there in the top 5. Newcastle.
Okay.
Newcastle 12th actually in the UEFA.
Okay.
In the UEFA Champions, Arsenal are top, Bayern Munich, then Liverpool, Spurs, Barcelona, Chelsea are 6th, Manchester City are 8th.
I mean, reality. How could Spurs be there?
It's funny. No. You know what happened to Ange last year, and he won that Europa League trophy. Puts them into the champion. Come on, you have to have a look at this the right way, Kenny. I don't understand how they could actually put. Always one of the former coaches of England said they shouldn't be in there at all. Arsene Wenger said no, they shouldn't be.
Yeah, but I mean, look, the rules are that the winner goes into the Champions League, right?
God.
That's what's speed. But what they did do last year that allowed Man United and Spurs to get to the final was that in the prelim Champions League, normally if you get knocked out, you dropped into the Europa. They scrapped that last year. So there was none of the Champions League teams dropped in the Europa League, which allowed Man United and Spurs a relative clean run. I would say to you, if that had happened last year, Spurs wouldn't have won the Europa. No chance.
No.
Absolutely no chance. No. But the point we're making is obviously, I mean, I think they're 14th in the league.
They are 14th. They're right now 14th with 29 points. 29.
And, you know, and good luck to them. You know, they're going. Although I think we agree, they've totally. I mean, the world stuffed. I mean, the World Cup stuffed. Champions League stuff. These too many games at the beginning. There's too many teams. There's too many games. A lot of the teams don't start playing until now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't really take it super serious. They'll qualify. They'll get themselves qualified, but now they take it serious. You know, so it's a bit like, you know, warm-up games. So the next section is when it really counts, and that'll separate the men from the boys, 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We've got a situation where, you know, you're talking Newcastle, mate. The only thing I say in favour of Newcastle, they're the richest club in the world by ownership, but they're running the club frugally, and you know they're running it the way probably a football club should be run, right? They're trying to do it with structure. They're trying to let Eddie Howe, you know, will try and bring players through. They're not doing what. I mean, remember what happened with Chelsea and Man City? They pretty much bought the league. When, you know, back in the day,
Abramovich, when Abramovich had it, Abramovich
pretty much bought the league.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
And then Man City pretty much bought the league, and Man United's gone close to doing it too, right? So they're going about it I think a better way, in my opinion. I think they're still, you know, they're up there. You know, they're certainly, obviously, they made Europe. They did win a cup. So I'm an Eddie Howe fan. I've got to be honest. I'm an Eddie Howe fan. I thought he did a great job at his previous clubs. So yeah, it's interesting.
Kenny, of course, I want to talk about. Go on, Graham. You're fine.
He was at Bournemouth, wasn't he, for a while?
Yeah, great. He was on. I mean, he punched way above his weight at Bournemouth.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, for a club that get 13 or 14,000 capacity, you know, and the budget they had, he did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, of course, Nottingham Forest. Oh, gee, Nottingham Forest. I tell you what, they could be dropping. They could be dropping, Kenny. They're now fourth last. Gee, they're getting there. And this Sean Dyche, I tell you what, he put him in. Marinakis put him there. You know, he had the big fight with Ange and got rid of Ange, and all of a sudden, I mean, what are we talking here? What are we talking? You would have been better off leaving Ange in there. The way things are going.
Hard to say. I don't know. They made the mistake. They shouldn't have got rid of, you know, the.
Are you talking about?
Nuno. I mean,
Nuno, Espirito Santos, yeah.
Yeah, Nuno. They shouldn't have got rid. I mean, he did a fantastic job for them. You know, I mean, he got them into Europe. He got them into the Europa. They finished. Was it 5th or 6th last year?
I think would have been 5th. It would have been 5th or 4th at least to make it.
Yeah, they just missed out in Champions League.
Jesus.
And then, 3 or 4 games in, you know, he gets rid of them. You know, no disrespect, Harry, because you know I love the Greeks. But it was a typical Greek owner's decision.
Oh, mate.
You know, mad as a cut snake.
Out of his mind.
Mad as a cut snake.
Out of his mind, yeah. We know that, yeah. So it was just crazy for what he did to. I mean, the thing is, even we go back to Tottenham Hotspur, and it's the same situation, okay? That owner got rid of Ange Postecoglou. The same situation here. What was the difference, Kenny? What was the difference? Kenny, he got him into that European championship there, and here we go now, the same old problem. What's the problem? Is that they're not spending enough money. They haven't got the players, I don't think, either.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree, mate. I think we're talking about Champions League now.
Yes.
And like we were just discussing, they're sitting 4th in the ratings. Now, that's probably an unfair rating against some of the other teams, but the reality is that's what UEFA's got them sitting, 4th or 5th. So who knows? I mean, I think when he was at Brentford, I thought he was terrific. So, he's formed, he created an environment, a very unusual way they run the club. The way they do it, they've got a really amazing stats. How they used to, and I think they still do it at Brentford even after he's left.
Yes.
So, it's interesting. People keep saying, "Oh, they'll sack him." I don't think they will. I think he'll finish the season. And I don't see Forest getting relegated. I think the bottom two are definitely already gone. I think
they're done.
Burnley and Wolves are gone.
Well, Burnley and Wolves are in deep trouble, and West Ham aren't far behind them
Well,
either.
no, they're not far behind. See you later. And this is the point.
Trouble.
This is the point. It's been uneven. Some of these lower teams are just unbelievable. I mean,
and Leeds have got to keep it. Leeds have got to be careful too. They've got to be careful. Make sure the teams they should beat, they've got to beat.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, and look, some of these teams this week. Oh boy, some of these names of these teams. I mean, I just want to go to the games right now and see what you think about these games this week, Kenny. Now, there's one tomorrow at 7 a.m. They're saying 7 a.m. Was it 7 a.m. yesterday or 7 a.m. today? Sunderland versus Burnley. Burnley. No significance.
Sunderland.
No significance. Nothing.
Sunderland. Oh well, Sunderland. Sunderland need, because they can make Europa. So Sunderland are playing, for a lot of prestige. I think that's a 2-0 for me.
They're 11th in the table at the moment. Yeah, I think Sunderland will win 2-0 too.
See, now these are the games that I think to myself, can they make something? Can they do anything? Leeds United versus Nottingham Forest, the Saturday, 7th of February at 7 a.m. Kenny?
That's a draw for me. 0-0.
I think Leeds might get up in that.
Okay, so if I go now, this
never know.
Yeah, this is a big one. It's the same day, of course, 11:30 p.m. Of course, we're going to be watching that. I think this is the one we're going to be watching. Man United versus Tottenham Hotspur. Here we go.
Oh, this is at Old Trafford as well. So
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't.
It's going to be on
2-1.
You can't
2-1.
You can't
Man
go.
United.
That's the thing.
I think United might. I think it might be a draw, 2-2.
2-2. Okay. Then you got Sunday, 8th of February, 2 a.m. Fulham versus Everton. Gee. Oh, God.
Draw for me, 1-1.
I think Fulham might win.
And
it's at where it's at. So it's at Craven Cottage. So I think it's. I think Fulham will win 1-0.
Okay, and we got here's another one for you. These are the games that are hard to pick. Burnley versus West Ham. I mean, 2 a.m. Sunday.
West Ham will beat them.
Well, here we hit now.
That's a 6-pointer.
Now this is the one here.
They definitely need to win that if they want to start getting out of the relegation zone.
Yeah, they don't win that, they're gone.
Yeah, okay. If they don't win, if they don't win,
if they don't win that, he'll get the sack. I think.
Yeah,
I think if they don't beat Burnley, he'll definitely get the sack.
So this one, if Arsenal don't win this, is a problem. It could be a problem. Sunday, the 8th of February, 2 a.m. Arsenal versus Sunderland.
I think 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, 2-1, 2-0. Unless Arsenal have a very bad day, it's at the Emirates, so it's going to be Arsenal.
Okay. Here's one for you that you guys will be telling me it's one way for sure. Everyone out here, everyone out here watching me, you got to understand. I'm an Arsenal guy. These guys here next to me are actually the epitome of the famous team called Chelsea in England. So they're going to be. We've got to see what they say. Just hang on for a sec, guys. Wolves versus Chelsea.
If we do what we did against West Ham, even though we were 2-0 down at half-time and virtually got booed off the pitch, if we turn up and we show that resilience, it's going to be Chelsea all the way, 3-0.
I think Wolves are a better team than the results.
They're last.
Sure. I think they're still a hard team to beat. I think they'll lose, but I just think 2-0. 2-0.
Okay.
Okay, so we're the next game at Sunday, the 8th of February. They're simultaneous games, Kenny. The 8th, and they're all at 2 a.m. at the same time. That means we're going to switch from channel to channel to watch the. It's unbelievable. They're all the same time. How is this going to work?
You can put it on split
screen. I know. I think so.
Yeah.
And your eyes would be going crazy.
But back in the day, all matches started at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon.
Gee, guys,
Division 1 to 4.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so
we used to have the grandstand, the Ticketek results at 20 to 5.
Jeez.
And it would come through and say Arsenal 1, Chelsea 5.
mate. So
I remember that. I remember that match.
The standing joke was that when the Scottish results came up, they used to think that Hamilton Accies, and they used to say Hamilton Academicals 0. And they actually, the standing joke was that they thought the name of the club was Hamilton Academicals 0, because it happened nearly every week. Right?
Jesus.
So it's
unbelievable.
Yeah, those were great things.
Okay, now here's another one for you. Bill Foley, the owner of Auckland FC in the A-League. The owner. I don't understand where he's going with his money. Bournemouth versus Aston Villa, the same time as the other games too. 2 a.m.
I think that's a draw.
Mm-hmm. Graham?
I think Villa might get over the line 2-0, 2-1.
Yeah, they have. I mean, Bournemouth. I mean, I've watched Bournemouth quite a lot. You know, I mean, they've got the ace they've got is these long throws and set pieces. You know, they beat Liverpool in the last 30 seconds with a long throw. And I think the first goal was a corner or a free kick. So they're very strong at set piece, but they're a good side. I have to say, you know, on the counter attack, they're really quick, and they get wide and they whip the ball in, and Aston Villa are hot and cold at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hot and cold.
I think Villa might just pick that.
And keep in mind, there's Carabao Cup and FA Cup during the week, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
There is. We play Arsenal. We play Arsenal on
the Carabao on Tuesday.
Carabao.
Carabao.
On the 3rd, that's right.
You know what?
But Arsenal are, is it 2-1 or 3-2? They're up.
They're 3-2 up.
3-2 up. Yeah.
Yeah, and they scored the away goal when they came to Stamford Bridge.
I think they've got rid of that. I don't think it counts anymore. I think if Arsenal if Chelsea score and win 1-0, it goes to penalties.
You know,
right?
Let me just tell you guys. Kenny, you said the Carabao Cup. Do you know what a caribou is? A caribou. Oh my God! It's an animal. It's an animal.
Yeah, of course it is.
I couldn't believe their name.
It's the old League Cup. It's the League Cup. It's the League Cup.
Carabao was the sponsorship, and I'm trying to think. Carabao it's a brand in the UK, and I'm trying to think who it is.
I think they're like it's like some kind of deer. It looked like a moose type animal.
It's an American moose or whatever.
That's what it is. Yes.
Yeah, but as we said, it's the old League Cup. You know,
it's also a coffee.
Is it really?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's who sponsors it. Yeah,
it's a coffee.
There you go.
And there was wasn't there a Monty Python sketch, Caribou?
There was. That was I'm a lumberjack. You remember? Lumberjack.
What a name for a competition, guys!
I work all night and I play all day.
Oh my God!
I wear women's clothing.
Oh gee, guys!
I mean, that was brilliant.
Okay, we got to get to the next game here, guys. Newcastle versus Brentford. Here we go. Newcastle don't win this. Honestly, you said about the coach, Kenny. I know.
1-0.
Graham.
I think Newcastle. I think the Barcodes are going to be 1-0. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now the next one is Brighton versus Crystal Palace. Wow, that's all these games are just favourites not playing each other. Favourites. Yeah. I mean, this is.
Mark Gear's already gone, so they've lost their centre half.
Okay.
So Palace. No, I don't know. Brighton. You know, I'll go Brighton 2-1.
Okay, so let me just say,
I'm going to go Brighton. I'm going to go Brighton 1-0.
Okay, so now what I've got here, this has to be the game of the round, of course. So this is the one everyone right now. If you're looking at this, is Liverpool versus Manchester City. Here we go, Kenny. Oh boy, this is a hard
I think
one.
Liverpool will beat Man City 1-0.
Yeah, I think Liverpool will win 1-0 or 2-0.
So we're talking here about their famous striker, Haaland. If he doesn't, I don't know whether if he doesn't score, they're gone. They're done. They won't win a game.
He
They're not winning.
scored on the
Did he
weekend.
score? Did he?
Yeah.
Did he? Okay. Well, if he doesn't score,
Yeah, against Spurs.
well, if he doesn't score in this game, well, you're talking about Liverpool being a harder team, aren't they? Of course. That's the other thing, Kenny. I mean, Haaland there, boy.
Yeah, it's a different. Yeah. I think that's a defining game of the season, because if Liverpool beats Man City, that kills the challenge off completely.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Because that makes. Oh,
That will put Arsenal
Man City.
9 points ahead.
9 points ahead
Jeez.
Yeah,
Bloody hell.
of Man City.
absolutely.
And there's no way Man City will catch that. No chance.
I just want to go.
It'll be 13 games left, because 14 at the moment, so it'll be 13 to go.
Okay, I just want to go through the table right now for a sec. Where's the table? Where's the table? Where's the table? Matches. Here we go. Table. Thank you. Table. I've got the table in front of me here. So let's go with this, guys. After the table, after this round, we're talking Arsenal 53. Gee, Manchester City really need to win to keep up with them, and they're going to have to win. They're going to have to beat Liverpool.
47,
That's
yeah.
right.
They're
47.
going to have to win on the weekend. Guaranteed.
Gee, the surprise. Where have you seen Aston Villa ever stay up that high on any, whether it's maybe in the old first division? But this is unbelievable.
I mean, they won last year. I mean, they made Champions League, so
Yeah, they did all right last year.
They did all right.
They did okay. Yeah.
Yeah, not the fourth. But mate, if they'd won in the last 3 games, they've lost two.
There you go.
They're 7 points behind Arsenal.
Yes,
if they'd won the 2, they'd be a point behind.
They are.
That's right.
Yes. And they're only a point behind Manchester City at 47-46. Gee, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then you've got Manchester United on 41 points. Chelsea, boys, you could pass Manchester United this week, Kenny. You could. They're only 1 point behind.
Yeah, mate. I think the top 6 will just bounce. The 3, 4, 5, and 6 will fluctuate a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think 1 and 2 will pretty much stay, but I think 3, 4, 5, and 6 will go. 6 will go to 4, 4 will go to 6, 3 will go to 5, 5 will go to 3. I think that will happen in the next 3 or 4 weeks quite often.
So you got yep.
That's what I think.
So you got.
And if Brentford get up, they might even. If Brentford get up in the next few games, they might be in the mix as well.
They can be. They can be. Because what I've got here right now is Liverpool. They're in 6th spot at 39. Brentford at 36 at 7th place. Fulham 8th with 34. Gee, Fulham could still go up. They could still go up a few more places.
Yeah.
You got Everton. Gee, that's funny. Gee, they're that far down. Everton's 34 points, the same as Fulham. Newcastle at 33. Now that's, as I said, they got that much money. You would think they'd be somewhere. You'd think keep saying Sunderland at 33 points, Bournemouth 33, Brighton on the 13th spot here 31, and it just keeps going lower. Of course, Spurs are at Brighton 31, Spurs 29, Crystal Palace 29, Leeds 26, Nottingham Forest. This is the one. They could swap here with West Ham. I tell you what, Kenny, this could be a danger game for the Greek owner. These danger games the next few weeks. I tell you what, and here he is causing trouble at the club. At this club, which has been a very historical club in the First Division and in the Premier League as well. Jesus, are they going to allow to have European owners all the time, Kenny, with this sort of attitude, or what? Gee.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot they can do about it. The horse is bolted. You know, I mean, the reality is there's no many British owners left.
No, there isn't.
I mean, go through the teams. Arsenal's American. Man City's Middle Eastern. Chelsea's American.
Yeah.
We've got Liverpool American. We've got Newcastle Middle Eastern. We've got Aston Villa. I think they're American. He's American. Yeah.
Bournemouth American. Bill Foley. He's American. You know how much he owns? Do you know what he owns? And American
I know
football,
he'll-
you know,
he'll do a lot of it.
big stuff.
Yeah, plenty of them. Then you've got Spurs are American. I mean, I think Joe Louis still owns most of them.
Mhm.
Then you've got. I'm trying to think if there's any British owners left. Fulham's
Is
Middle
it
Eastern.
Radcliffe? Is it Radcliffe who owns?
No, he's only he's a shareholder in Man
Okay,
United, but
okay.
they're owned by the
Okay.
they're owned by the Glazers.
The
They're
brother,
American.
two
Yeah.
brothers
right,
still,
the
the two
Glazers,
brothers
yeah.
are still there. Yeah.
So I don't know. West Ham are still English.
Mm-hmm.
Wolves are Indian.
Jesus,
Uh,
unbelievable. No wonder. they're lost.
Wolves are Indian. Burnley, I don't know. I think maybe Burnley might be English.
Mhm, mhm.
And then I mean, really few and far between. And there's not many. I mean, when you think about it, there's not that many English managers either
No,
in the Premier League.
There isn't.
I mean, you've now got Sean Dyche. You've got
Howe, Eddie. Is it Howe? Eddie Howe? Howe?
Eddie Howe. Yeah.
Eddie
And
is
you've
English,
got-
yeah.
And well, Davy Moyes is Scottish,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm talking about English.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
There's not many. Yeah, there's not many English. I think there's. Yeah, there's not many
Unbelievable.
at all.
Unbelievable. So we may have to actually.
Isn't Liam Rosenior English?
Yeah, I think he may be. Yes, I think he
Yes.
may be.
Liam's English. I'm pretty sure he is.
Sean Dyche at
Yeah.
down at of course at what's it called again? Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest. That's right. Yeah.
Not Forest.
It's all to do with business. If you can't win games, the next coach comes in. Next coach, who knows?
Oh, there's no doubt, but that's why their contracts are structured the way. Yeah, I mean, in fairness, coaches go in now knowing that there's only nearly one guarantee thing they'll get sacked.
Yes.
There's only one team can win the league, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
the reality is we sacked our coach, when he was fourth or fifth.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's
we
right.
sacked him. I mean, I'm not sure if
Yeah,
he left
yeah,
or he
yeah,
sacked,
yes,
but the
yes.
same principle. When you think about that, and Real Madrid got rid of the coach when he was sitting second.
Oh,
What do you need to do to keep your job?
What's it all about? Yeah.
So that's why.
And we just won the World Cup club champion
Yeah.
as well.
and
and we're looking at
Michael Carrick.
The parachute money.
Michael Carrick too. Yeah. Okay.
yeah the parachute money. Yeah. In fairness to Man United sacked him. He was fifth.
Yeah, I know.
He was fifth.
Amarin. Yeah, I know. What?
So the parachute, when they do a contract like Ange and the whole lot of them,
yeah.
their pay figure is massive. So even if they get
Right.
sacked, they're pretty much set for life.
Yeah.
So it's
There was
worth taking the risk. I mean, Mourinho's had been sacked about 7 times.
Oh,
He's made more money from being sacked than he has actually been in the
Absolutely.
job.
There it is.
Absolutely.
There it is. That's
I
what happened.
just saw we released on a free transfer little English lad, striker.
Sterling.
Sterling. Yeah, they released him, yeah.
Raheem Sterling.
He was on £324,000 a week,
Jesus
Yeah, huge.
Christ.
and he's not played a game this season.
Did you see?
No, he's free. His contract must have expired then.
Jesus.
31st.
I think it was a mutual thing. I think from what I read in the papers,
Yeah.
but who knows
Mhm.
whether
Well,
the
he'll
paper
go
gets
to
it
the
right.
Middle East and probably pick the same money up.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Saudi
He'll
Arabian
earn a
league.
fortune. Or China.
Saudi Arabian
Yeah,
league will pick him up for sure.
China's not a happy hunting ground
Nah.
for British players.
Mhm.
I had a few people who went there, and a few coaches that I know that have gone there.
Uh-huh.
Horrible.
Didn't Oscar go to China?
I think he may have done.
I think he
might
did
have done.
all right.
Mhm.
I think he did all right in
Yeah.
China.
But there's been plenty of them who've gone there and gone. Oh. I mean,
no.
Beijing's okay, but there's a few of these places you couldn't live there.
No.
And that's the big problem in the Middle East. Like Henderson, he never lasted. It's the lifestyle. It's
Mhm.
completely.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever been to Dubai or,
Yes, exactly.
and Saudi Arabia, it's an acquired taste.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, boys.
I mean, you got to like sand. Anyway.
Okay, guys, there you've heard it today from the experts of football. Yes, guys, your teams are winning, your teams are losing. They've given you the scores. If you checked out the scores, check out the replay and check out the scores as well and see whether we've picked your team to win on Football. Yes, guys, it's one of those weeks in the game where It's always on the Premier League. Doesn't matter what happens, we talk about it. It's Football Let's Guys with Kenny Wilson and, of course, Graham Parker. Thank you, guys, for joining me. Thank you, boys. Thank you.